Thunder Bay's own Bobby Curtola, the first Canadian recording artist to blaze a trail to stardom in his own country. Started some 10-odd years ago for Bobby Curtola. This is his first hit, the tune he recorded when he was 15 years old. Bobby was in Thunder Bay over the Easter weekend for one of his few stops at home during his circuit across the country. And C.F.P.A. radio managed a few words with the recording star.
Well, we're speaking with Bob Curtola, who's in Thunder Bay for a wee bit of a holiday in between stops on the circuit. Bob, where are you heading next?
We're headed straight for Hamilton, right? We're in the middle of our nightclub touring, and we'll be in Ontario for a little while, southern Ontario. Do a little bit of border hopping. The nightclub is really exciting. Bit of entertainment for me. I really enjoyed it. It's a little bit of a transition from the one-nighters and from the days gone by, and it's really exciting to be able to stay in one's town for a little while. You know, usually we used to pack up after a show and run for the next spot, you know, but now we get a time or 2 weeks is really good.
All right, and Bob Curtola didn't seem to be doing too much recording for a time, and now you've come back with a new single, Way Down Deep, which is written, I believe, by yourself and your manager, Mr. Hurden. And
exciting this time is too. It's sort of, I've never really gotten involved in the writing area before, and we're very excited that people like the record, and we're hoping that it's really going to go. It looks great because all the stations are playing it, and we have some chart listings already on it. It's only been out for a short time, and that's my thing we've been waiting to hear.
what about the album, the new album on Capitol, named, I believe, Curtola? There's a lot of great selections on it, some Canadian writers, some American writers. How do you feel about that album, and what would be your favorite tune on it?
I'm excited about it, Jerry, simply because it's in a way, a marker for me in the beginning of another era, in a way. This is my second album on Capitol, and it's actually my 10th album that was recorded. This album seems to have created as much excitement as some of the best ones I've ever had in the recording industry. We're hoping that that's going to go in sales, but the album itself, because of the material that I'm singing, and probably because of the great success we're having in the nightclubs, is get everybody with their eyes and ears turned to Bobby Curtola, who has been around for so long, you know, and who now apparently has taken on a bit of a new role, and hopefully I'd like to feel that we've widened our scope of operation. And the album, in a way, is sort of a spearhead to a commercial, the commercial aspect of it, and that it looks as though we're coming back on records again. In days gone by, you know, I don't think anybody will not admit that the success we had was unbelievably tremendous. We were like, in a way, the first Dairy Queen in Canada, and there was called a Teenage Idol and the whole rest of it, you know, and they were really great times, but like everything, to be on top and to have so very many hit records, one hit record after you've had 2 or 3 or 4, and, you know, you sort of know what it's going to bring for you. But the transition, with the Beatles and all the rest of it, and me getting a little older and actually being up there for so long, we were looking for a new way to turn, and we were hoping that we would be able to make the transition from the teenage star, the celebrity, to the nightclub, to appeal to more of a wider group of people. And the transition was really one of the most difficult parts of my whole career. In looking at the track record of so many other entertainers who were accepted as younger people by the teenagers, not very many of them managed to make that step into the nightclubs, and the ones that did really did all right. And it was really a delicate time for me. A bit of a strain, you might say, but it all seemed to unfold and seemed to work, and in a way this new album is accumulation of all of that effort, and it looks as though we're going to come back on records again, which is really exciting.
something I have meant to ask you, and I hope I'm not stepping on touchy ground, but I noticed your latest album was recorded in Nashville. And I recall hearing an interview with Canada's top female artist, Anne Murray, very recently, where she stated that she wouldn't record in the States. She didn't want to. Her latest album was recorded in Canada, and she wanted to keep on recording in this country, despite pressure.
Actually, Anne Snowbird and a lot of her other albums, she initially records in Canada, but the tape takes the United States and overdubs the strings and all the rest of it on top. I know that, because I know it's true, because I know the fellow that does it. He's my arranger. He's a long-time friend. He's recorded with over 100 songs with us. Fantastic man. His name is C.F.P.A. And unfortunately, he didn't get much credit for part of that success. He's sure that some of the individuals, as Anne Murray, I think he's great. The reason why we recorded in the United States, Gary, is if you want to really know the truth, I'd say, if it was a month, I was lucky off in between the touring and the clubbing and the one night of the concert. And we tried to record this new album in Canada. I phoned everybody, and I couldn't get a studio. This is the truth.
Well, he skipped through the pan and a yellow can. What I had, that's my boy.
I couldn't get an arranger. I even went to the Canadian Talent Library. And I tried to make arrangements with them because they had some recording time booked in one of the studios. And I figured that maybe we could work some kind of arrangement where I could work with them and through them to get the studio time and the working. You know that I couldn't book a studio, I couldn't get a studio. So what happened was, I got so darn upset, I picked up the phone. My boss picked up the phone. We got on the old wire, we phoned Nashville, and in 15 minutes, I had the best musicians in Nashville, the best arranger, and everybody ready to go. There's really no drawback for a Canadian recording in the United States because the new Canadian content ruling stipulates that you have to conform to one of the two. You either have to be a Canadian artist or a Canadian song. And since I am a Canadian artist, me recording in Canada is of no advantage over recording in the United States as far as the ruling is concerned.
No, other than pure patriotism.
Well, actually, I don't think there's anybody that's more patriotic than Bobby Curtola because for years I've been speaking about Canadians and promoting them, and I only wish that the rest of the Canadian artists would speak more highly about each other, because one thing about the United States, if you ever notice, I know so many of the performers down there, they're very good friends of mine. They brag about each other and they talk about each other, and I think it's because of that comradeship, because of that friendliness between them all, that everyone cares so much, you know? But in this country, the artists themselves have a little bit of maturing and growing up to do. They sometimes feel like we are competition to each other, when in reality there is room for so many more. And years ago, when I came back from a tour in England, I was one of the very first people to bring to the attention of the people involved this new Canadian content rule. I was one of the first people to mention the BMI and the whole affair that we actually needed some kind of legislation. All of the people involved were promoting Bobby and supporting us. You know, when it came to us releasing our songs, nobody said we'd sell any records, and we fooled them all and we surprised ourselves, you know? It's amazing when you don't know, what is the word, you don't know right from wrong, and you just sort of plow right through, and usually if you've got something that people like, you're ahead of the game, and I think that's what happened to us. But I'm really very proud of Canada, and I really think that we are coming into our own, but I truly believe that cooperation is really the secret. And radio stations can now say we have Anne Murray or the Guess Who or Bobby Curtola, and there's more of a close relationship. It's turning out to be able to work, and I think this is terrific. It's about time. I wish it was like this when we started out. They say it's hard now. A lot of recording artists say it's very difficult now to even get in on the 30% or whatever it is. But if they only knew how difficult it was in those other years, there was no communications in this country. Port Arthur, Fort William, Thunder Bay really never knew it was happening in Winnipeg, and they didn't care. Toronto never knew it was happening in Vancouver. And I can remember when we were starting, in those years when we were really hot, as they said, in the record business. We tie up the Vancouver airport and traffic jams the whole bit. But Winnipeg would never know what was happening. And it happened in every city, every major city we ever went to. I look at that press clip of mine. I never read my press clippings when it happened. Well, years later, I'll have maybe a peacock come for that. I said, it influenced me, because some people sometimes think it was successful. It really got to me. And looking back and following some of the situations and talking with my crew, we have to suffer because it was so unreal. It really happened.
It doesn't sound as if success has changed Bobby Curtola very much from when he first started.
I sure hate to think something. I would hope that through all of the experiences that I've been involved in and the great things that I've been able to see and be a part of, I would hope that I've learned a little more. And one always likes to think that when it's progressive, not really in the physical means or as far as wealth and the rest of it, but in mind and body and especially in soul. And I've always said that the things I've been able to see and do, the life I've led up to now has been so fantastic in the experiences that I feel as I've lived a complete life already. And I really couldn't buy what has happened to me for $1 million, millions of dollars. And if it all fell apart tomorrow, I'd be so very thankful for the great things that happened so far.
All right, looking at your new Capitol record album, Bobby, we see that you've recorded selections by a wide number of contemporary writers. Max Davis, Watson Scotty Hill, and here's Joe South, Rose Garden. Who would you say would be about the most influential contemporary writer on the scene today?
That's a tough question to answer because it's too early to really tell. Because Joe South, our good friend, put your hand in the hand of a man from Halifax. I think it's really too early to tell who's going to have the greatest influence, but I would say that music is actually an expression of the times, of what is happening. And I think that Joe, as well as Gene, yes, as well as Gene McClellan, they're part of what is happening. They're part of the youth movement. They're part of life, and I think that they're expressing it in their music. I think that through the music today, we really see the great influence of change in society and in lifestyle. I don't really think that the ideas that people have changed that much. Our environment has changed. I'm speaking of the ideas of the heart. The goodness, we sometimes get confused by the lives we have to live and the way we have to conform or the way we wish not to conform. But I think that life has got to be so darn complicated that the younger people, the younger generation is sort of speaking out and pointing their fingers at all of the complexities that really don't have to be there. And they're making fingers at the parents and the older generation, or the generation that is really involved in running the countries and taking care of each other, the rest of the world. They're aware of the complexities. They wish they weren't there also, but they're sort of saddled with it. I don't think that the feelings of the people of the world change. I think that the younger generation is just pointing to it. I think that all of that extremism that was so very evident and still is to a degree has brought the norm of life to, I would take a better step with a greater freedom for every individual. There's still a lot of things wrong, and there always will be, but I think it's great that younger people and all people are striving for a better world to live in. I think there are a lot of very talented writers in the field right now. Steve McClellan, who I admire very much because he's a good person. I really don't know who's going to carry the greatest amount of influence, because in the days of Rogers and Hammerstein and Gershwin, they had such a track record that you couldn't help but give them credit for the great work that they had accomplished. And I think that, as I say, the times we're living in, it's just a little too early to tell. I'm sort of excited about just where it's going to go. Things are really changing, because even in television, it's been such a great turnover there, because for the first time, they're rating television shows by who's watching and not how many. And one of the reasons for that is naturally business, advertising, and all the rest of it. But I think it's a greater communication between people too. I think it's terrific. And I'm excited about all of this. Any Canadian content ruling has been great for me, because it makes people start to look at what's been happening in Canada. And for a change, there are a lot of people who are looking at Bobby Curtola and saying, well, this guy really does have a track record. He really has done all right. And he's still around doing all right, so let's give him a listen. And it's great to just be in a position where people are listening to you, because that means that they're going to say, I like that or I don't like that. But when they don't listen, oh, it's a little tough. I'm in the process of going down to Toronto for negotiating in a new CTV network show. I don't know if how it's going to come out. But excited about it, though. Could be fun. Great to be doing something like that. I really love this story.
Well, on your nightclub circuit, Bob, what would the average age be of are there people who perhaps remember when they were young and you were just starting out, or is it strictly younger people now? Or?
No, actually, the whole thing is changing in that even the nightclub, some clubs are experiencing a lot of difficulty in getting people to come out. But for us, we put on in a way with the nightclub, a Las Vegas type of show, and that we try to entertain people. It's not just a piece of music, not like an audience and the performance. We try to get involved with the people and we try to entertain them. And the funny thing about success is when you're right in the middle of it, usually people will give you credit for it after you've experienced it. But right now, we're right in the middle of it, up to our ears. The crowds have been great, the money is great, and the way it's going is just fantastic. We're appealing to the 20s to 30s. And that is the age group that spend the money and that are the moving minority, or majority, supposedly. But in the nightclub operations that we're involved in, we find that as much as we interest the younger people, we get a complete contrast to most other shows, in that we get a widespread of people coming, from young to old, and that's what's so amazing about the whole affair. The nightclub management people are so excited about having a thing that we really don't have enough booths. That's why I'm working so much, is because just don't have enough booths to fill all of the engagement.
Well, Bob Curtola would like to thank you very much for dropping by C.F.P.A. Studios, and we wish you, of course, all the continued success in the world.
It's nice to be home, Gary, and thanks for calling me up and inviting me down. Good talking to you. Happy Easter.
Well, thank you. Same to you.
Back to the